back to another episode of The Mind of Reese. I am happy that you are here. And today we're going to be talking about community building. How to build die-hard communities. This is something that I know that it's been coming up a lot, and we are about to enter 31 Days of Abundance in the Align and Rise Collective, the ARC. And abundance is more on top of more, right? We're going to be talking about more and more and more and more. No lack, all abundance. And when it comes to the more, there's always the more money, the more clients, the more community. And oftentimes it starts with the more community, then we get the clients, then we make that money, right? So I like to look at it, especially when we're looking at it from a business lens. Now, I think money can come from anywhere, and I believe in miracles and magic. And so this is something that I know that there's money that's coming in certain ways of my offers. But then I'm also allowing the universe to bring me abundance, wealth, money, income in a way that I could be totally surprised by life. And that's how I want you all to be thinking of these things. I want you all to be thinking of these things and how can I be so surprised in what life is going to send me and how abundant my life already is and how much more is coming, but also creating the spaces and inviting people to be in these spaces in order for us to build community and to create the pathways for people to come in and pay me money for my services, for my experiences. And so when it comes to community building, you're not just building a business, you're building a whole goddamn movement. A business is just the masculine side. It's the logo side. It's the logical side. It's the side of you that's yes, I need to post XYZ on these days. I need to, have all the strategies, all the numbers, all the statistics, what's growing, what's working, what's not. That's the masculine side. We can utilize the statistics through our insights on Instagram in order for us to see what's working, what's not. However, the insights only work when you are completely being in your business. Now, what I mean by that is that you are building a brand. A brand people can get loyal behind. A business, people don't get loyal behind businesses. It doesn't matter. The business part is the finance part. It's all the structural aspects of it, which is really important for your business, but the part that builds loyalty is the brand. So in order for you to build a die-hard community, you are needing to get really crystal clear on your message, on who you are, on what you're doing, how you show up, all of that good stuff. Okay, because that clarity piece, people just want to run over. People don't want to understand their own brand identity. They don't want to understand what it is that really truly makes them who they are, because that's scary. And oftentimes it's too scary to dive that deep, because when we do, we find out things that we don't like about ourselves that we've been really trying to eradicate or even just hide from. And we're definitely unwilling to share that with the online space because we're afraid of being ridiculed or judged or whatever else might happen. But the thing is that your very shames, your insecurities are the source to your power. That is actually going to be the defining factor of who it is you're helping in your spaces, whether it be tattooing, whether it be coaching, whether it be holistic healing, whatever you do as a holistic creative entrepreneur. You need to understand that by getting to know yourself is what's actually going to build your community. And when you are able to be brave and to share that self with others in the online space, you will make them die hard. So you see, you can build a community being a very surface level brand, just showing your tattoos, just showing education, just showing the XYZ of things. But the moment that you can show up as your fully authentic self and own that part of you, even the parts of you that you don't necessarily like very much, that's what humanizes you. And that's what makes people die hard. That's what makes people a die-hard community. Not die hard, die hard. It's funny because I talk about this story all the time and a lot of you resonate with it. It's where, when I, back in the day, it makes me human. When I stole tattoo photos and claimed them as my own, that makes me human by saying that out loud and owning it. Number one, anybody that talks shit about that thing, which people do sometimes, even until now, even though it's been 7 years later, yeah, you're just showing off your body in order to get likes, but, you know, isn't that the same thing as stealing tattoos and blah, blah, blah. I just received one the other day, and that's why I'm remembering it. And it's just like, I'm like, I look at that and I'm like, bro, you can't touch me. Like, I already own that story. You got nothing on me except that, like, I take off my clothes. But even then, I own that part of me as well. So it's like, when we just own the parts of us that we shame, and we just come out with it and just get vulnerable with it and just open ourselves up to it, our fears, our shames, our insecurities, nobody can touch us after that, because I've already owned it. At that point, I'm basically Neo stopping the bullet. He's beginning to believe. Like, I am Neo. I am believe, you know, at this point, I believe that, like, I'm the one. And I'm like, you can't touch me with your bullets. I'm not dodging them anymore. I'm literally stopping them in their tracks. That's the difference that makes the difference. It's like, actually, all of the things that make you, your insecurities, your origin story, you know, the things that feel like they might even bring some trauma, you know, it's like, those are the things that really make you who you are. Those are going to be the pathways to your power. So when I'm building a community, and when I look at building communities, and if I were like to start over and build a community, I would just be unapologetically myself and just own it. And the reason is, I know that sounds easier said than done, but when we can just say fuck it, when we could just get into fuck it mode and just not be so serious about the way that we show up online, not overthink it, we actually are going to be doing a lot more in the way of making waves and making impact on people, because the whole point of social media, especially as a brand and a business owner, is to create, to basically make people stop in their tracks and get people conscious. Because when your story or your image or visual that you put on the Instagrams or the TikToks or the YouTubes or whatever it is stops people in their tracks and they wake the fuck up, then they're engaged. And that's where we get more engagement. And then that's what makes people press the follow button, right? When they get engaged, when they become conscious, when they're unconsciously scrolling for hours and hours and hours, but your piece of content decided to wake them the fuck up, and they decide to engage, meaning they open their eyes, they open their level of consciousness and begin to read, and they begin to relate, and then they begin to feel like an emotional feeling within the body, then they're like, oh, let me explore this some more. So then they go to your page and they look at what you do and they see that other things resonate, and then they press the follow button and they begin to follow you, and then they get to know you, because the more you post in this way, the more that they're like, wow, actually, and you're reaffirming their reasons for following you in the first place. So you're reaffirming why they decided to say yes, why they decided to invest their time with you, because you're diversifying your content and telling stories about your life, and also giving insight and inspiring and moving them in a direction. And then that's when people become die hard, because the moment that you start inviting people into your spaces, they start saying yes. They start saying, okay, I'm going to DM this person. I'm going to get in their books. I'm going to get on their emailing wait list. I'm going to get tattooed by them. I'm going to get into their spaces. But the thing is that we have to be brave enough to not only show up, but also to invite. So the whole month of October is all about abundance. And I'm calling it like Abundant October. And we're doing this in the ARC. We're doing this in the Align and Rise Collective, my membership. And we're going to do 31 days of abundance, because the way I look at it is, if we want to kickstart to growing our community, we need to kickstart showing the fuck up. And we're going to do it in a very beautiful, valuable way. So 31 days. And if you just want to do this on your own, you don't even have to join the ARC. But hey, go into the ARC and get all the great stuff that comes with it in this challenge. And what this is going to do to kickstart building this community is that, like, sometimes when we're in a lag, we need a challenge and accountability and some fun fun takeaways and learning a lot of new stuff on how we can show up in the online space as of 2023 October, because things change so often, and how we can grow and build a community and kickstart that. It's like these challenges help so much. But then when we're doing it from an intentional space of giving, because when we feel abundant, we give. When we feel alive, we feel like, oh my God, everything is working, we give. But what happens when things aren't working? We start to isolate. We start to feel like we can't give because we don't have enough to give. But you know what? It's in those moments of feeling the struggle or the challenge that is happening within your life that you get to be the empowered. I know you can make the empowered decision to know that everything is on its way, and that by withholding doesn't mean that you're gonna get more. Withholding actually stops the receivership energy, because you're not actually grateful for the things that you have, and you're afraid that it's not gonna come back if you give it away. Hello, we are just in a little short break because I want to invite you into, not that I haven't been talking about this the entire podcast episode, but my Align and Rise membership. This is for the spiritual tattoo artist and creative entrepreneur who knows that true success, wealth, and freedom not only come from mastering the art of business, but also mastering the art of embodiment. So if you are craving to be a part of a community of spiritual trailblazers who dream fucking big but want to play bigger, if you're ready to up-level your voice and your content and your expression in a way that feels fun, authentic, and converting, or if you know you're just ready to truly connect to intuition to bring more inner and outer wealth, then Align and Rise is for you. This is a place for you to stay plugged into the constant evolution and self-mastery. And I'm talking about over $8,000 in programs for business, marketing, and self-mastery. Right when you sign up, we're talking about live Zoom calls, 2 of them every month with me, and we have daily trainings in Telegram with a community of just badass creative entrepreneurs and spiritual tattoo artists. So if you're really wanting to stay plugged into inspiration and you just are looking for the abundance of more and more on top of more, then this is the place you want to stay plugged into. And guess what? It's only $88 a month. So we're talking about over $8,000 in bonuses right when you come in, talking about $4,000 in value every single month. Plus we're going to be doing guest experts and other seminars every quarter. So you're getting jam-packed of value, inspiration, education, and programs on how to scale and grow your business in a holistic way, all for $88 a month. Check the show notes. Click that link, bitch. I love you. See what I'm saying here? There's a frequency of abundance. There's an identity behind wealth. When I'm in my wealth identity, does not mean that I'm making buco motherfucking dollars every single day or buco motherfucking dollars every single month. This year, financially, has been really hard on my identity. And I think because the reason why it has been hard is because I had an expectation of when things were going to come and how they were going to show up. And with that expectation had me pushing up against a wall on what I believed what success looked like. Now, I needed that in order for me to wake the fuck up and realize that my wealth identity, my identity is abundant, regardless of my financials, regardless of what's coming in, regardless of what I'm receiving, because I refuse to be a person that only gives once I get. No. I want to give way before I receive anything, just knowing that it's on its way. And that's and that's what we're going to look at it through the lens of content and through business. It's when we give and we give and we give without expecting anything in return. That's giving value. When I show up in the online space, I give my value. I give all I got. Everything that I know, everything I teach, anything that's coming through, I give it away because I already know that it's going to come back. I already know that. I don't have to withhold certain information so you come into my spaces and pay for it. That's not how this works. People come into my spaces because of my energy, not just because of what I fucking know. That's not why people go into your spaces. It's because of your energy. It's not because of how well you tattoo. You could tattoo very well. There's a lot of tattoo artists that tattoo very fucking well these days. I mean, the industry is changing. People are niching down. They're making their own styles. They're getting really good, really fast at their craft. And you know what? Good. That's a good thing, because then it forces everybody else to rise, and it kicks out all the people that don't want to take it seriously. So I'm happy about that. But that also means that you got to, put your foot down and start investing in yourself, investing in your craft, but also investing in your marketing and in your business. Because since the industry is changing so much, we can't just be posting pretty photos, because there is a lot of people out there doing really amazing work. So what do? We got to build a brand. And building a brand is what people can get behind. People don't get behind cool tattoos. Some people do, but it's not sustainable in the marketing aspect and the business aspect as this industry grows. And into 2024, I project that you are going to need to be really, really good at what you're doing, and you need to be really, really good at how you showcase what you're doing. And what I mean by showcase is the way you market it. Okay? And so this is like a big reason why I'm completely creating a whole new thing around marketing and how I can help tattoo artists really facilitate massive transformation in their marketing, and how to really just get them fucking booked out. Like, that's a whole vibe. But anyway, we're not even going to get into that. So this is, but by building a brand is what is going to change the game for you. And if you start now, you're starting ahead of the game. You start now, you're starting ahead of the game. We start next year, you're going to be still starting great. It's going to be strong, but a lot of people are going to catch on that, oh my God, this is what I have to do. So start today. Building a brand means building relationships. A personal brand, you are the brand, not your tattoos. Because at the end of the day, if you start to veer and shift and you want to move and do other things, or if you want to make passive income through branding, sponsorships, things like this, or you want to make other income through like education, mentoring, or you want to make other income through merchandise and things like this, building a brand, building a diehard brand around you is what's going to alleviate these little branches off for all the other things you want to do. Literally. I own a shop. I tattoo for a living. I have educational spaces. I have several different things I'm launching all the time, all at once. How I invite these people into these spaces, how I invite community in, how I build a diehard community is my energy. It is not just what I know. Yes, I invest a lot of money. This year alone, 65 grand. This year alone, $65,000. Last year, $90,000 in mentorship, in programs, in just growth in and of itself. That's how much I spend on investing in me and investing in my business, because I know that the more I grow in my leadership, the more confident I am in the way that I show the fuck up and how I can help facilitate massive transformation for my people and for my diehard community. And it still grows and it still shifts. So these things that I'm telling you now, this is just like the foundational aspects of it. This is just getting your mind wrapped around the fact that building a brand is what builds loyalty. People buy from brands because people buy from stories. They want to know the story. I was talking to my client the other day, and she found me through my business content on TikTok, followed my Instagram, found me as a tattoo artist, and realized that the business aspect, the business part of it, was the part that she resonated with so much. She fell in love with the style of tattooing, of realism, because she knew that I was going to be the tattoo artist for her, not the other way around. She wasn't looking for a realistic artist. She wasn't looking for realism. That's not what she was doing. She thought I looked cool. She liked what I had to say. She followed my spaces. She became die hard. She spent 2 days with me, spent $4 grand, 2 days worth of tattooing. She's coming 2 more days. Like, That's investment, man. That is an investment. And you know what? She even invested in telling me her whole life story and how similar it is to mine, even though there's parts of my stories I don't necessarily talk about a lot on the online spaces. I talk about it probably in this podcast and a lot in my private spaces, especially when it comes to, how do I say this? Like child abuse. I don't want to say that as far as like my family, but just more like, molestation, whatever, you know what I mean? Like talking about the R word, we're talking about rape. Okay. So when we're talking about this word, you know what I mean? This thing, and I'm like, holy crap, like this woman, this is something I don't talk about a lot when about a lot about myself. Not that it's just not the part of my story that it's like, that's just not the part that makes me want to just scream out to the rooftops. And whenever I do want to talk about it, I will. And so it's not something I'm afraid of talking about. It's just not something that comes up a lot in my spaces in the way that I want where my brand is. But it doesn't mean that I don't talk about it in my private spaces or bring it up in certain aspects of other spaces when it does come up. Even right now, I wasn't expecting to be talking about child abuse or anything like that. But it's also just like, well, it came up, and that's something we actually connect with. And what's funny about that, it's like connecting based off that, but like it's that's not funny, but it's one of those things where it's like, it's not that we connected off that aspect. It's more just like, I understand, I have empathy. And for the fact is that she felt a certain way during this moment when she was abused and when nobody believed her. I understood that so much because it's exactly what happened to me when I was a kid. And so when I can have that empathy and she somehow realizes that energy in the moment, in it through content, even without me having to say anything like that, and then she tells this to me, and when I tell her my story, she breaks down and she starts to cry because she's just like, I've never felt so seen. And that, God, it's just making me so empowered and so like grateful that because of my brand, because of how honest and vulnerable and how fucking brave I am to show up in all of me, these are the people that I get to call in. Like, fuck yeah. Like, that's my why. That's my reason. She's my motherfucking reason. And let's not even get into all the people in my spaces. Let's not even get into all my students and my members that make me feel more empowered every single day because of how wise they are and how willing they are to be vulnerable in this space and to speak out loud. Like, oh my gosh, I can't even tell you. So if you, I want you to have what I have. I want you to have what I have. I want you to feel the things that I feel. And I know that you've tasted it. I know that you've felt it before, but I want it to be for you every single fucking day. But the only way that we can truly build that type of brand is by building relationship. And how do we do that in the online space? We show up authentically. We show up in all of our unfuckwithable glory, is like what I like to say. We just do it. We're not here to serve our peers, our friends, our family. We're not here to serve, other tattoo artists, other coaches, whatever. We are here, unless that's your demographic. We are here to serve the client. And your client wants to get to know you. Those other people don't pay your bills. Let's just be real about that. Community building is not trying to be kosher or trying to be for everyone. Community building, especially die-hard community, the kind that will pay you buco dollars, lots of money, will invest, save for a year. I had a client the other week. She was like, yeah, I saved my entire tax refund. I've never opened this envelope. This envelope was Reese's envelope. And I waited 2 more times, waited a full year to get a tattoo by you. And here I am. And I was like, holy shit. When people say things like that, it still blows my motherfucking mind. Like my soulmate clients continue to evolve into even more soulmates because I continue to evolve myself, and I continue to get braver and braver and braver because I'm receiving the evidence of that bravery. Now, it took trust. It took me creating that own evidence at first, because when we start community building, what ends up happening is that oftentimes we'll do something and we don't receive what we expect, meaning we don't receive the validation or the vanity metrics like the likes and whatever, in order to get that evidence that the thing is working. We have to trust that it's working. So I trusted that what I was doing was working. And it took, I'm 12 years into the business, but I'm 3 years into my coaching. And so me switching demographics and me switching, and actually I'm really, what is it? I would say 4 or 5 years into realism, like hyper color realism, doing like purely color and opaque grays, black and grays. So it's all color technical aspects of tattooing. So that's like 5 years. And so it's really like, even though I've been in this business for 12, really, I feel like I've been starting all over almost every year, because I'm like reinventing, redoing, evolving the things that I'm currently doing so that I can get better and move with the times of marketing. And even with the times of community building. And that's the best part, because when you build a brand, it doesn't matter what's going on in the marketing space. It doesn't matter what's going on in the social medias, because you've already built a diehard brand. The marketing aspect is just, it's all semantics. It's all just strategy. It's all logos. It's all logic. It's like, okay, well, this is working. TikTok's getting more attention. Let's spend more time on here. But the brand doesn't change. I don't change. The way I show up doesn't change. It might change in the fact of what type of content I'm creating, but that doesn't change. So building a brand is going to be your most important thing. So can I just say that I am so fucking excited to be holding my very first holistic retreat style seminar. Yes, the Worthy, Wealthy, Creative is here. This is a business and marketing seminar in the holistic way. And currently we have 8 spaces left. This happens October 28th at Inked Magazine's headquarters. Yes, that means you're gonna be able to come in, check everything out. This is the tattoo shop, Inked NYC. And I am so excited to be inviting you on how we can completely change the way that you're doing business. This means that since this is such a hands-on experience, I am going to be looking into your business and helping you create the strategies in your social media and in your launching so that you can be booked out, baby. But we're not only talking about the strategic game, we're also going to be experiencing the inner game and the quantum game. And we're going to be doing this through neurosomatic meditations and healing circles. So if you've been just dying to get into a community, to a space live in person where it feels like you can totally change and shift the whole way of doing life and business, this is where you want to be. And trust me, every time I do a fucking retreat or if I do a seminar in person, it always changes my level of energy on how I show the fuck up, how I invite people into my spaces, and how I make that money. So if you are ready to master the inner game, the quantum game, and the strategy game, you understand the social media concepts, you gain practical tools for yourself for intuitive wisdom, your vision, you're gonna focus on a holistic approach to your business and marketing. I'm gonna give you the skills, and you're gonna show up unapologetically authentic through your content. 6 to 7 hours retreat with me, baby. Let's do this. It's authenticity and it gets attention. Those two things. Gary Vee had said the other day that the 2 most important things that you need to be paying attention, like doing, is authenticity and paying attention, and attention. So the authenticity part is like, build the fucking brand. Nike doesn't have to sell things. Rolex doesn't have to sell anything. They have a brand. They have a brand, and they have a demographic of people they know that brand is that those people are going to love. They don't care about anybody else. They already know that most people can't afford to buy a Rolex, but they're like, yeah, you can't afford to buy one doesn't mean that the value goes down. Just because you can't afford it, you're not the demographic. You may be one day. You may want to be, but you're not the demographic. That's why we need to show up in that branding way, in our way, so the value relies on your energy, not so much and only in the tattooing. Because you wonder, you have really, really branded, beautiful branded, minimalist tattooing. You have minimalist tattooers ranging from all years, all walks of life and whatever. But the ones that do the best are the ones that are branded. So we're talking about like minimalist tattooing, like, I can't even think of his name. My bad. So we have tiny tattoos from this person over here, and we have tiny tattoos from Joe Schmo over here. It's like, they're both the same. They both do really good work. But why does the other guy make $2,000 a day on his tiny tats over this guy over here who makes $150 per tiny tat? You see what I'm saying? Because the per tiny tat Joe Schmo over here is not really showing up in the branded way, is not putting out the personality, is not giving value to his community. He's showing his tattoos and they're cool, but at the same time, that doesn't make him any different than all the other tiny tattooers. So when we're talking about like this guy over here, the guy that's like building a big brand charges $3,000 a day for his tiny tats, which is totally possible. It's because he's built a brand around him, around his movement, around his mission. And it could be a totally minimalistic thing, but the way that he shows up is in a branded way. It's in a mission statement way. And now, back in the day, these big guys that are doing, only tattoos, and they're the kind of guy that's very like off the grid and that kind of stuff, that works for some people. But right now, the marketing, the way the psychology around people is changing. Really, people want to get to know you before they let you touch them. And oh my gosh, what a concept. I have to get to know you first before you touch me? Wow, what a concept. Like, it's like dating, someone's going to penetrate me and I don't get to know them first. Like, don't get me wrong. My first 5 years of getting tattooed, that was totally a vibe. Like, I didn't know anybody would get tattooing me. Now I'm like, yeah, I definitely want to know the person and I want to like vibe with them before I start hanging out with them, because the last thing I want to do is be in pain and hang out with someone I barely like. So you see, the more that people can get to know you and like you through the online space, the faster it is that you're going to turn them around into a die-hard relationship. And the more you're going to urge them to wait for you over just going and getting a tattoo by Joe Schmo. So community building is about building relationships. Community building is about building a brand that people get loyal behind. And when we start to do this, yes, we have the semantics, we have the strategies of like engage in the content, leave thoughtful comments, intentional and thoughtful responses in the comments and questions, use their name, show that you care, all of these things. Like, there's so many Googleable or even ChatGPT AI ways of figuring out how to grow an engaged community. But at the end of the day, the better that you get to know yourself and the better that you get to express that authenticity in the online space, being creative in the online space is a practice. Just like meditation is a practice, tattooing is a practice. Everything is a practice. So content, marketing, it's a practice. We have to practice doing it. You think you're just going to be good at one time, 1 month? Come on. What are we in this business for, a season or a lifetime? Like, let's get with the program here. Let's stop being babies about this and stop feeling like this is all a struggle. It's a challenge. When we can turn it into a challenge, then we can truly start to see, we can start to feel that we're connected to something, we're connected to a bigger thing, we're connected to a why. And then we get to move through a challenge much easier. When it's a struggle, we feel isolated. We feel like nobody gets us. We don't understand things, and we become a victim to our own reality. And we struggle, and that's hard. I don't want to struggle. I want to deal with challenges. I know that with challenges comes growth, but with struggles, it just feels as though all I'm going to continue is to struggle in a spiral downward. So if I can reframe my struggles into challenges, I'm ready to go and connect. When I'm struggling, I'm not connected to anything. I feel alone in everything. I feel like nobody gets it. I feel like nobody gets me. When I'm in a challenge, I'm like, no, I have a bigger why. I know why the fuck I'm here. I know the longevity of the reason why I'm in this business. I know I'm going to make this work. I know that my riches are coming to me. I'm ready for abundance. I already am abundant. This is my identity. So I'm going to give and give and give without expectation of receiving anything, but I have expectancy that things are coming. So we had in the last podcast episode, expectation versus expectancy. Things are coming. So this is my identity. This is my wealth identity. I don't need the vanity metrics to prove to me that what I'm doing is working. And once we do start showing up, let's say you join us for the 31 days of abundance in the Arc. You join the Arc. That's what we're doing in October. Let's see what we do in November, but we're going to start on October 1st. And it's like, oh, you do it. Then by the end of that time, then you can check your insights, and you can see what worked and you can see what didn't. You can see, oh wow, this worked. Okay. And you start to get smart and you start to get good, and it starts to be fun, and the content is like, cool, I can do this and I can do that. Okay, that didn't quite work, but that's okay. I know at all times that my commitment is to the value. So whether or not it gets a lot of likes from it, all it means for me is that, yeah, I gave the value. So no matter what, it's perfect. I'm leaving it. Just because the ratio to the comparison of how many followers I have and how many likes I got, I have 174,000 followers and I got 200 likes on a reel or whatever. Yeah, that's not gonna make me feel like that was a successful reel, but at the end of the day, it's successful to me because I know that I offered a lot of value in it no matter what. And that's where it lies. Can you make the success? Can you change the way you look at success when it comes to your content? And look at it from a perspective of like, I gave it what I got. I didn't overthink it, but I did give a lot of value. That's how I measure its success. If I overthought it and I didn't get a lot of engagement and it made me feel bad, I don't think that's a quite successful post. If I overthought it and it didn't do well in the vanity metrics, and then I'm like, oh shit, you know what? I overthought that one. I look at that as a successful post because I got to learn something about myself and realize, oh, I'm pushing. Ooh, I'm chasing. I'm chasing in this moment. Where can I back up? Where can I go out and live my life? Where can I let this go? Where can I easy bake oven this method? The method of easy bake oven, set it and forget it kind of vibes. What happened there? I start to go dive in deep. I start to ask the question as to why when things aren't working or whatever, and why am I making it mean something? Normally, it's the ones that were like, don't overthink it, give massive value, set it and forget it. And those are the ones where people are like, fuck, this hit home. I needed to hear this. This is inspiring. Thank you so much for sharing this. Oh my gosh, I resonate with that. How do I get in touch with you? Your work's amazing. Where do I sign up for your wait list? Boom, 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 boom. So you see, you guys, community building is about building a brand. Building a brand people can get loyal behind, but the only way they can get loyal behind it is when it's real and true, when it's honest, when it's authentic, when it's genuine. If we're trying to fake the funk, that can be felt through the ethers and through the internet. People don't quite understand why they just don't like it. They're just like, not my vibe. No. When you are truly being you, and that gets to evolve and change. Like, I thought I was being super authentic 3 years ago, and then I'm realizing, wow, I wasn't actually being all that, like I wasn't as authentic as I could have been. but I didn't know myself well enough to know that. So we get to continue on the practice of self-mastery. And as we do that, we begin to continue the practice of business mastery and of branding mastery. And that's the vibe. We can embody embodiment and business. These two things are the most important parts. Okay? So you embody, you understand, you know yourself well enough to know how to show the fuck up and build a brand. And then the business aspect is all the business. It's the marketing, the branding, the structures, the strategies, that kind of thing. And the embodiment is the energetics, it's the intuition, it's the emotional mastery, it's the quantum spaces, it's the co-collaboration with the universe. We bring those together, and that builds success. But success to me is balance in there. And so we have to have both balance. We can't just focus on the business side and expect it to work. And we can't just focus on the embodiment side and expect our business to work. It has to be both. All right, guys, I love you so much. I hope that was super supportive on building your community. I could have given you like the 1, 2, 3s on how to build your community. I mean, I think I left you a few of them with like engage in their content, things like that. But that's not really why we're here. We know how to do those things. We're trying to go deeper here. And I know that if you're listening to this podcast, we go deep here. Deep. Anyway, that sounded gross. You guys have a great rest of your day, and I will see you in the next episode.